I was taught to take care of other people. And so I knew that being of service to other people was one of my mom's pillars of how to show up as a human being. And so I didn't realize that self-care was part of what was missing in my life. So I was a teacher, I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a busy woman. We built our own house. We did a lot of things all for others. And it never occurred to me this self-preservation, this self-care wasn't necessary. And so I didn't take care of me, not the way I now do. And the disease that showed up to remind me of that was I ended up with in-situ melanoma. The doctor said it was because of the sun, and it is in a place where the sun did not have a lot of access. So it's not that. And so the conflicts that I experienced, the strategies of stuffing all my emotions, the busyness, I think all contributed to ending up with something that is absolutely life-threatening. And I feel like it was the lottery ticket that saved my life. And I ended up in a different career that I wasn't very inspired by. And the gentleman that I worked with, we had a dynamic that at some point we said, okay, we've met for a reason. What is that reason? And eventually the book came my way, the journey book. And so I went, okay, that's why we met. And so I read the book and I loved what I read, but I didn't understand it because my brain was trying to figure it out. My mind was trying to sort through it. But there was something in my body and being that knew whatever the words were, that the healing was possible. And I just didn't understand. I didn't realize that it wasn't a mental teaching so much as an experiential teaching. And so I couldn't find anybody to lead me on a process. So I waited a year. And then I went to Brandon's seminar in Ottawa. And it was overwhelming. It was insane. It was so packed with people and emotions. And I went with some family members and we were all terrified, especially me, because I couldn't contain all my emotions anymore. It was like somebody ripped the lid off and I just cried and I snotted and I snorted and I tried to stuff it all back in again and the eyeballs kept leaking and it was insane. It was crazy. And it was absolutely freeing at the same time. I just thought I'm doing this for other people. This has nothing to do with me. I'm here to learn so I can help others. So as we know, when you go to your first event, you get paired up with some random person. And this is where my heart broke. And my heart broke because this gentleman that I worked with, he was physically disabled by the pain of carrying the grief and the guilt of his son dying. And I thought, oh, I don't think I can do this. I cannot hold myself together long enough to help him help himself. And so I was I was vibrating away. The papers were shaking. I was shaking. Snot and tears were flying. And the trainers just kept going by going, you're doing great. And I'm like, I don't think this is great. I think this is me falling apart. And so I trusted that the paper knew more than I did and that the trainers would hold me and that I could hold space for this man. And I learned that his son died, a 16-year-old boy, and we have 2 sons. So it was too close to home. Anyway, we made it. We survived. Nobody died. I got to the end with this guy. In the process, they say you give a process, you get a process. Oof. And when he stood up, he could walk more gently. He was straighter. His legs worked better. His hips and his knees were functioning. And I thought, what the hell? How is that even possible? And I thought, okay, I don't care if I don't get it. I just witnessed and experienced true healing. And I thought, I'm in. And I heard Brandon say, if you're a lover of truth, then this work is for you. I thought, okay, what you got? And I haven't stopped since. I choose to live my life as these skills, in forgiveness, as best as I can with all my isms. And I finally recognize that this work is not just for other people, it's actually for ourselves. I'm not on some bandwagon trying to rescue anybody anymore. Forgiveness is huge. Family dynamics have changed. Relationships have healed. Those that I thought were done have healed. Those that needed to be done are done. Everything's changed. It's the most raw, real, rewarding way to live life that I didn't even know was possible. I'm hugely grateful, hugely. Being terrified is an indicator that there's something in it. If we're not invested and if we're not afraid, if we're not skeptical, then it's probably not meaningful. But if you're terrified, then try it. Because I didn't realize, and people that I work with don't realize until you're in it, that the terror is actually the way through to your own healing. Be skeptical and be open and willing to try it anyway. Like I have been shocked so many times, surprised so many times. Every time I offer or receive a process, I'm like, wow, I did not see that coming. And it does take courage. So get people who you trust and surround yourself with conscious people. If we're the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with, be very selective. And choose to take those baby steps forward anyway. And for you, it may feel like a leap off a cliff. And for somebody else, it may just be this little whisper of a movement. It's all perfect. So just do it anyway. Do it anyway. Your mind is not going to understand this, but your body will. And let it lead itself. It's huge. It will change everything about your life. Everything. It's worth it.